Taking a look at Western Kentucky, families in Mayfield of Western Kentucky had to evacuate their homes today, some by boat, after drenching tropical rainstorms flooded the town that was hit so hard by deadly tornadoes a year and a half ago. Governor Andy Beshear has declared a state of emergency for this part of Kentucky. In Western Kentucky, several people had to be rescued from their cars and homes when the flooding hit. Mayfield in Graves County was the hardest hit, receiving nearly 10 inches of rainfall overnight, which flooded many streets, vehicles, and homes.
Last night, I was like, it's getting pretty bad. I mean, this morning, we got a call, and we didn't expect it to be this bad. Well, yeah, like you always say, at least, we need the rain, not this much rain.
This comes a year and a half after those tornadoes devastated the small town, leaving most of its historic downtown flattened. It still has not rebounded. At this time, no deaths have been reported, and the governor's office says no one has been reported missing. The city has opened an emergency shelter in town for anybody who needs it. Now's a good time to download the free WHAS11 app. You can watch WHAS11 News live during the storms if you lose power as well, and keep an eye on our Max HD radar. It's available for free on Apple App Store, and on Google Play. New tonight on the night team, we're going to learn tomorrow who will be the next permanent chief of police for LMPD. The mayor's going to make a major announcement on the leadership role tomorrow at noon. Mayor Craig Greenberg, despite criticism, has kept much of the process secret of finding a new chief, saying that they wanted to ensure the highest quality pool of candidates for the chief of police. What we do know is that there have been 19 candidates, including the current interim police chief, Jacqueline Gwen Villaroel, who publicly stated that she wants the job. Mayor Craig Greenberg will make the announcement with the deputy mayors as well as the advisory panel chosen to help find a new police chief. You can watch live coverage of the announcement tomorrow on WHAS 11 News at noon. We'll also be streaming live on WHAS11.com and the WHAS 11 app. New tonight on the night team, how you park your car in Louisville is becoming a real problem for police and the public safety, especially if you legally carry a gun with you and forget to do one very important thing. WHAS 11 night team's Connor Steffen and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton show you why Metro Police and the Louisville ATF are frustrated.
Simple measures
is just to be a responsible, safe gun owner.
To prevent, in some cases, immeasurable loss.
These firearms will be used in other crimes, so homicides, non-fatal shootings, aggravated assaults, as well as other types of violations.
That's how Louisville ATF Special Agent A.J. Gibbs explains solving a recent problem facing law enforcement in the city. How you park your car could solve it all.
The issue at hand is that there's an increased report or numbering of firearms that have been stolen or reported stolen from vehicles in Jefferson County.
Through the first 7.5 months of 2023, LMPD reports 162 guns have been stolen across the county, many from cars.
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily common, but sometimes there might be a situation where an individual may think that this is the safest place to store it at that time, so it can happen.
It mirrors statewide trends seen in the Commonwealth. 14,000 guns stolen over the last 5 years.
We have seen a trend that's ticked up year after year. So that is a trend that LMPD is working on, and we're partners with them.
LMPD wants to take a few minutes and discuss an issue that
as outlined in this recent public service announcement posted to LMPD's social media. Officers are now asking for your help. The Louisville ATF says there's one important step you can take to prevent items in your car from being stolen. It's actually quite simple. Lock your car door before you leave.
In effect, maybe it's just easier now because people aren't taking those extra efforts to lock vehicle doors or lock their residences.
There's also this.
This particular form is produced by ATF, and this allows
a personal firearm record gun owners can fill out. It serves as both a personal record for the owner and a crucial tool for law enforcement.
So like doing this, how much does it help law enforcement and the ATF?
Oh, tremendously, because without a serial number, it's going to make it very difficult to be able to link both the crime to a subject who committed it, but then also get that firearm back to the firearm owner themselves.
The ATF says thefts like this can happen anywhere. The silver lining, there's plenty of simple measures to take that could very well save lives and curb an ongoing issue. In Louisville, Connor Steffen, the WHAS 11 night team, on your side.
The ATF also advises buying a car-compatible lockbox where you can store your guns. You should also keep items out of plain sight while you're away from your car. To find and maintain a personal firearms record, we've got a link for you to the ATF website on WHAS11.com. For the first time today, we are now hearing from the mother of a 6-year-old who was shot in the back during a road rage incident on I-65 last week. Police say Onyx Sands was in the car with her father when the vehicle got involved in an altercation with 3 motorcyclists. Now, as the healing journey begins for Onyx, her family is coming to terms with a new version of Onyx's future. She's badly injured with a future of possibly never walking again.
She said she remembers hearing boom, boom, and then she saw something bright like a firework, and then she said there was blood on her seat. It's unfortunate that because of the actions of adults, my 6-year-old, her entire life has changed. She doesn't get to enjoy simple things that we did, you know, riding a bike.
A GoFundMe account has already raised more than $15,000 for Onyx. LMPD today said their investigation is still active, but they did not provide any updates. The teenagers accused of shooting and killing a 16-year-old at his Louisville school bus stop in 2021 appeared in court today. The 2 teens charged in Tyree Smith's death, Damarian Moore and Mackay Cable, are asking for a bond reduction. Tyree's family says they are never going to miss a date leading up to the trial.
We have to keep his name alive. Tyree was on a great path, and so we have to make sure that his name don't go in vain, you know, and that everyone remembers him.
And nothing like this happens again. We don't want
Yeah.
this to ever happen. You know, this is crazy that something like this happened.
Tyree was shot at 6:30 in the morning at his bus stop at 21st and Chestnut in 2021. Damarian Moore and Mackay Cable were arrested and indicted in July of last year. They too were JCPS students. In court today, a judge set a bond hearing for September. Kia and Hyundais have been the targets of car thieves since last year when a viral TikTok video showed people how to steal them by using a USB cable. Today, LMPD confirmed it's still a big problem. In a new public service announcement, Louisville police say nearly 2,000 Kia or Hyundai cars have been reported stolen this year alone in Louisville. That's about 10 cars a day. They say the most impacted cars are those models made between 2011 and 2022. An investigation is underway in Clark County, Indiana, where 2 children were severely burned in a fire. According to Clark County, Indiana officials, it happened at a rural property in Marysville, Indiana, off Nab, New Washington West Road. That's about 45 minutes north of Louisville. The call came in around noon. We know that the 2 children are hurt and that their burns are severe. The Indiana State Fire Marshal is investigating. A new report shows certain crimes are going down in Kentucky. Today, Governor Andy Beshear said law enforcement leaders released the 2022 Kentucky Crime Report. Homicide reports were down 33%, while homicide arrests decreased by 6.9%. The report also shows a 13% decrease in drug and narcotic reports and a 16% decrease in robbery reports.
This report is encouraging news that we are moving in the right direction. This is what is possible when we work together to build each other up and to do what's best for our families.
But sadly, animal cruelty is one area that saw an increase in both reports and arrests. Kentucky State Police say part of that is due to a new violation code and more law enforcement bringing attention to the crime. To see the entire report for yourself, you can read it on WHAS11.com. And moving to the race for the governor's mansion in Kentucky, the man hoping to unseat Governor Andy Beshear in November announced his running mate today. Kentucky Attorney General and Republican nominee for governor Daniel Cameron selected Kentucky State Senator Robbie Mills of Western Kentucky, a man Cameron says is a true conservative. A state lawmaker for 6 years, Mills is known for sponsoring the bill, now law, that banned transgender girls from playing in boys' sports in Kentucky. He also co-sponsored controversial Senate Bill 150, which has now banned gender-affirming care across the state.
He's pro-coal, pro-family, and is a strong leader for Western Kentucky. Robbie will be a great partner in our quest to defeat Andy Beshear.
Under the Cameron Mills administration, we will bring about a new era of cooperation between the executive branch and the legislature.
Campaign responded to the nomination, saying in part, quote, selecting the person who helped lead the charge to enact Matt Bevin's plan to slash pensions for our teachers, police, and firefighters shows how Daniel Cameron does not care about hard-working Kentuckians. Mills voted for former Governor Bevin's controversial 2018 pension bill, which the Kentucky Supreme Court later ruled was unconstitutional. We have an update tonight to a story we brought you last night right here on the Night Team. We've learned the city has now set aside $2 million for the new community care campus. Housing and Community Development Director Marilyn Harris tells us that money will now help buy additional property and fund improvements for the buildings they already own. The campus will take up an entire block, including a former hotel in Smoketown, and provide both temporary housing and medical care for the homeless. Big news today. With the threat of possible strikes still out there, UPS is going back to the negotiating table with the Teamsters Union. Today, in a statement, UPS says they would return to the table next week to resolve the few remaining open issues. But the deadline to make a decision is still looming. The two groups have until July 31st to come to an agreement before the Teamsters say they will go on strike. Right now here on the Night Team, I do want to take a moment to remember a Louisville legend in the restaurant business. Frank Foster's soul cooking at two famous restaurants in town drew us all together through the decades. First at Jay's Cafeteria in the Russell neighborhood, and then his last project is Franco's Home Cooking on Dixie Highway, which he opened in 2008. In May of 2016, former President Bill Clinton arrived, where he served up fried chicken to customers. Clinton was in town campaigning for Allison Lundergan Grimes. And in 2016, we asked Frank about the lure of his famous cooking and atmosphere.
All the big time boxers, a lot of the entertainers, the Jerry Lewises, all the governors, the mayors, the county judges. Yeah, I've had them all.
He's had them all, and we're going to miss Frank. Since WHAS TV was so close, we often went to Jay's Cafeteria for lunch and dinner in the 80s until it closed. But Franco's is still open on Dixie, and he was right. His was a place that united people of all races over a good meal. The funeral for Frank Foster Jr., a business legend, is tomorrow at 11 a.m. at his church, Little Flock Missionary Baptist Church, at 1030 South Hancock Street. The burial will be in Green Meadows Memorial Cemetery.